Hi guys, Bolt here once again. Today I have a 2 versus 2 and all 4 of these people know each other. Jack and I have been playing since 2014 basically, and on the other side we have TNT and Creed. Now, just a heads up, the gameplay I am showing here is one with many mistakes. I was playing as Dutch German, just regular Dutch German, on this right flank here. And the choice of units in my deck and the way I've been playing with my deck, that sounds really wrong, was definitely not the way you should be. You should be playing with that deck. So definitely take that with a grain of salt, but it is still good to show since a lot of people want to see when you do things wrong so that they can learn from it. Meanwhile, Jack is taking the left flank here of Alpha, and he will be taking the main defense of Delta. And he does really well in this game, so I'm going to be mainly focusing on his gameplay, because it was just epic. Speaking of gameplay, if you guys have had some really cool matches, if you just had a 4v4 team match that was just epic, you made an amazing comeback in a 1v1, etc, etc, please do send me those replay files. I did have a video out on how to do so, and you just drag and drop that replay file onto my Discord in the Wargame replay files chat, and I will have a look at it. So let's just speed forward. So the way I am setting up my units here on the right side is quite simple. I'm mainly focusing on this force. I'm getting some recon units here, some AA here, just to have like a good overall defensive position. For the town, I have some ATGM infantry coming up and some recon. And for the far right side, where usually the fighting happens, in this field here, I have some Panzergrenadiers, some Dutch commandos, so the Dutch elite units, and I also have some Fallschirmjäger for later. Now on the left side, we have Jack playing, I believe he was playing Blue Dragon, we will know for sure in just a bit. And he's spawning with quite a heavy tank, the K1A1, he has some mortars laid out. He has a K30 Baiho, the KM900 Recon. If we just quickly click I, yep, he is Blue Dragon. Now on the enemy side, I should say enemies, the opponents, we have Creed, starting with the MiG-21 BIS, which a lot of people are doing lately. It's really good to just keep those AA helis busy, or just to take out some helicopters. But he was not ready for my 2 Hawks, and he just gets demolished. Unfortunately, he does kind of hit one of my helis once, and that splash damage also wrecks the other one. So these 2 guys will not have a good time against this Mi-24D. They're already worried, so they're gonna just immediately go to shaken, panicked, or even just die. I did have smoke coming in here to break that line of sight, which as you can see does work, in the hope that I could then unload my infantry there, but that did not quite go according to plan. And this really good Hind, so helicopter gameplay by Creed, will be decisive on the right side. So I have some Power Milan 2s unloading here. I have a recon unit. I have a KPZ-70 Kyler holding in the forest. And I got these 2 Hawks. I got some regular Panzergrenadiers going into the forest just to set up a defensive position. Mi-24, once again, just unloads on my units. And one of the mistakes I made was not having some AA up on the front line. This deck also does not include anti-air infantry, so man-pads. But luckily enough, the ATGMs do some good work. Now on the left side, Jack is moving into the town of Alpha. He has some really nice recon units, elite recon units, mind you. He also has some Chumats in the back, which are just wonderful. 60% accuracy. They're basically like spikes, but slightly slower. I would say there's some, like if you compare it to Redford, they're somewhere between Conkers and Spikes in terms of speed. The accuracy is wonderful though. In the middle, we are Destruction, so don't just think this is a Zerg rush. The K200s are just moving ahead to scout and see what the enemy has. He has some militia moving up on the front line together with these Kaiuroku WAP-Cs with 40mm. But unfortunately, the enemy has WZ-550s. And that just absolutely demolishes those units. The K30 Baiho comes in, just wrecks that Mi-24. He does make it out, amazingly. Nanion Shikijis are up against what looks like T-72 M1s. 90-point tanks with 18 AP versus 60.17 AP. Yeah, and these Nanion Shikijis don't have any armor, basically. So they're not gonna have a good time, in general. So on the left side, we do have some Lijiang 90s, which are a huge problem for Jack. And some Zhangxis. The Zhangxis are taken care of nicely, with fire support from the K1A1, which is a really, really good tank. 22 AP on a 65% accuracy gun is just wonderful. So yeah, in general, Jack is taking the brunt of their attack. Now, if we switch over to my side, you can kind of see what I'm trying to do next. I do have some Panzergrenadier here. I have the KPZ-70 Kyler. I have a Leopard 2A1 that I spawned in. I finally got another Cheetah. I have my mortars in the back. I'm in a good defensive position there. I have some more Marder 1A2s coming up with Panzergrenadier 90s. And more M113s with Panzergrenadiers. The ATGMs in this town are really, really powerful. Although our accuracy is 45%, like the base accuracy, having these guys on veteran just makes them just tap everything. Now if you go into neutral mode, we can just quickly look at his unit composition. So it's just Strellas, Formosas, Pico de Smacks, and a bunch of Commandosi. Now on the left side, Lijiang are still alive. The K30 Baiho does move in nicely and takes out the Z9 TY90s. Which is quite an expensive unit, actually. These guys are 90 points each. So I'm not quite sure why he moved an anti-heli to the left. Now, 4 PG sets, and I love to see this, are moving up for fire support. Are those T-34 chassis? I think they are, right? I'm pretty sure those are T-34 chassis. They're moving really close to get some fire support going. The Lijiang got demolished by the Yebiong and the 50 cals from the transports. That's quite cool. Militia doing some work on that left side. Here we have Kute 90s and a Nanion Shikiji moving up once again. Just gets demolished by the by the double stack of Wilks. The enemy definitely has the better armor strength or armor power in the middle. We do have this K1A1 slowly moving up to the east, and at this point I'm also reorganizing my armored units and also these Fuchs Milan units and recon to get line of sight on these units. Now on the right side, I'm not really seeing much, so at those moments, even though it is destruction, I like to push. So I'm pushing until contact with these Panzergrenadier 90s. I got 40 of these in total. I got a Marder 1A2 standing back and another squad of Panzergrenadier 90s holding in the back here together with more Marders. Now over here, the M113s are just scouting out ahead. They're 5 points each. Not really a big problem. We do suddenly spot some units. The Spado Krots somethings. These are Polish units. Get spotted and just absolutely get demolished by the MG3. Pico de Smacks, a 10-man squad over there on loads. Get some fire support with the PKM. But with all these Marders, they will not really stand a chance. Now on the left side, Jack moved him some commands. Gets everyone nicely resupplied. Chumats are just having some fun here. I love to see militia versus militia gameplay. That is awesome. Now, Commandosi pop up, and there was 30 of them, 3-0, and it looks like they did amazingly well. We had, we had 30 Panzergrenadiers as well, and they almost killed this entire squad off. So good job on that. And here you can see another thing that Creed really nicely exploits, which is my lack of AA. If we go into his point of view, He doesn't really know that I don't have AA, but he's just moving this Mi-17 up to the front, which is a cheap helicopter, and keeps the Mi-24D slightly in the back, and just demolishes my units. Which was really, really well done by him. I do have a spag here, but it's just slightly too far, and I also noticed they have 80 gems in that town, so I don't want to risk losing this guy simply because there's just a hind over there. Now the Martyr 182s are close enough to get those autocannons working, but that Mi-24 just does not give a damn. Even together with infantry, that thing takes a beating and gets the hell out of there. So well played by Creed for sure. Now in the middle, we have T-55 recons, we have some AA, we have some ATGMs, another Wilk has been spawned in. So in general, it looks like pretty much a standstill. Now in terms of conquest points, or I should say conquest points, in terms of just overall map control, it's pretty even. I'm about to cap Foxtrot, they're about to cap Alpha, and that basically gives them, so that's 7, that's 10 points there, Fox is 3, Delta is 4, so that's 7, that's 10 points for us as well. We got a rush of K200s. That tank Shashao start wrecking some of these transports. It does make Jack stop for just a moment. The T-72 will get spotted. I did move up slightly on the right side to try to snipe some of these units here, because my KCT does manage to spot that T-55. Now we have the Hachikai Shikis. Wonderful, wonderful AT gems. Quite quick as well. But since they have only 17 AP, it does 1 damage to that T-72. But somehow Jack managed to hit all 4 of those shots. As you can see, AT gem there does fire at our tank. So I immediately fall back with it and get smoke out just in front. And that manages to maybe make one of them lose line of sight, but we get out with just 1 HP. I was super lucky there. Now Social Buntai are not going to do well against these guys, especially with that tank Shashao in the back, which is a recoilless rifle that fires HE as well, so he does the right thing and falls back slightly. C-plate comes over, but luckily for us, I have Hawks that are non-radar. These guys are really, really good. Really good range, 4,200 meters, and 50% accuracy. Now I do fire a lance on the right side, and I kind of forgot if this actually got anything. Did I fire at these poor Picotus Max? Oh yikes, they just got nuked. Now, 12 Commandosi versus 1 Pensgrenadier is not a bet that I would like to take. So unfortunately, they don't really last long. They do manage to take out one of them. So I quickly get this Mankati out of there, get this fresh, well, kind of fresh squad down together with the Martyr 182 to try to keep him busy as long as possible. I am definitely making a lot of mistakes on the right side. Now Jack, on the other hand, is doing really well with his Hachikai Shikis. Demolishing that WZ-550. The tank Shishao is almost dead. 5 squads left in there. But with all that fire support, those guys are almost done as well. BTR-40 gets demolished, T-72 Jaguar shows up. My tank still needs to repair, so I cannot help him just yet. We have a KF-16C, Block 52D. Now if you guys are wondering what my favorite unit is, it's this guy. It can be a fighter, it can be a seaplane, it is just a wonderful unit. Really, really good to use. Alright, so there is some Commandosi in there. I did not manage to... Wait, what happened here? Did we actually... Okay, so we lost the infantry, but we managed to kill the infantry, the remaining Commandosi with the Martyr 182. At this point I was kind of freaking out because I thought he had quite a lot of units still in this forest. So what I do is I get, first of all, another recon because we just need to keep these tanks spotted. I move up more Panzergrenadier 90s and Marder 182s. As you can see, I'm just starting to flood this right side. And Creed does really well with its Niebieski Berettis, which are 15-man shock troops, 25 points, versus my 20 points, 10-man shock troops. So he does have the price performance going on there. Together with the Formosas and the Commandozis and the heavy tanks, he's doing quite well on the right side. We get some supplies to the front to get both the Leopard and the Hawks rearmed and refitted and repaired. And we build up for a new encounter. Now on the left side, we have a ninja that is probing around, missing 3 times, but finally getting that recon unit from TNT taken care of. Jack moves in a Peace Pheasant and the Seed Plane. I'm not quite sure what he was going for with this guy, but it looks like he was just sick of these militia. Now he kills most of them, he loses that plane, but we do manage to take out one of these HQs. I'm not quite sure if that was a good trade. Now, at this point, I am slightly more confident with our position on the right side. After making those mistakes, we're slowly building back up. Man, that's just painful. Hachika Shikis just demolishing absolutely everything. Surprisingly though, the tank Sheshao managed to hit like every shot. I don't know if there's something with these recoilless rifles, but they just seem to hit everything. Now going back to my point of view, the KCTs on the front line don't really spot the tanks here. So we're not quite sure what the enemy has in store for us. Now we got some mortars coming in to aid Jack in his push. That is immediately being countered by a rocket strike on Jack's position. And that kind of stops that attack from happening. On the right side, we have a 20 Panzergrenadier versus 15 Niebieski Beretti showdown. Definitely not having any problem with that one. Winning that quite easily. But immediately we can see Creed exploiting my weakness here in this, with me playing this deck, which was the lack of like good AA that I can move really quickly and easily into this forest. He does fly a Seed Plane on the right side. This cheetah is turned off. This one is as well. But I think at this point I turn it on to try to take out these helis. But the Seed Plane wasn't quite gone yet. I'm not quite sure when that happened, but he did some really good things with a Seed Plane. Now at this point, mortars are on standby. I got another lance to try to dislodge him on the right side, and finally I buy a Leopard 2A5 to really have this door stop against all of these heavy tanks. Let's just briefly speed through this. As you can see, we do finally start, spotting some of these units. We're just resupplying everything, getting everything repaired and back on numbers. We have a lot of infantry on that right side there, and quite a lot of supplies. Now this Leopard 2A5 is going to do some damage very soon. Now on the left, not much has really happened. If we just look at the enemy's positions, TNT really hasn't been moving most of his units, and he has been mainly focusing on Bravo. And also investing quite heavily on home defense units, and together with Creed on these RM70s. Now the ATGM, I spotted right at the last second, otherwise we would have taken 2 side shots. So So I managed to fall back with this Leopard 2A1 immediately. The RM70s just unleash just hell right on top of these units. And man, are they strong. That just took out the entire squad. And he does a good job of microing these as well. Now if you guys want a tip, don't know what he did there. The enemy, your opponent, usually moves his artillery from spot A to spot B continuously. So when they use artillery, just let them fire it a few times and then mark where they roughly go every time, because they will usually go back and forth between two spots. Now I finally got a Mars to try to dislodge some of these armored units. We do miss that T-72. We just piss off some of these transports, so it wasn't quite that successful. Now Panzergrenadier 90s engaging the Niemiecki Beretti, not having a great time there. They're outnumbered quite extensively. I move up the Marder 182s because I do know that this recon unit is not having a great time either, so that should be easy picking. Once again the Hinds come in. I do have a Cheetah here in the back, but he does have a seaplane in the back here as well, and that immediately claps. Immediately claps my only AA on that far right side. Guys, do yourself a favor and get man pads. Now we take out one of those planes, and the second seaplane also gets demolished. But unfortunately, with the help of these Mi-17s and Mi-24D, I do have to kind of fall back. The Mi-17s we luckily do take out with the Marder 182. And the Mi-24D gets panicked and gets destroyed by the Marder 182s. I kind of missed that happened. Now T-72 Jaguar is panicked. We do have the Leopard 2A5 and the Kyler here on the left side. Now we do need to remember that the enemy has Conkers right there. So my plan here is to quickly move in, just take a hit from those Conkers and fall back. But unfortunately we don't get that line of sight on that Jaguar. So I move in again and then I fall back. Since these are basic Conkers, it's only 20 AP. So if we just manage to show our front armor, they're just going to do 1 HP damage with each hit. Now 22 Commandozis. Not a fun thing to have. So I get my artillery raining down on them to try to stop them until my infantry arrives. Which is right here in these M113s. So quite an interesting showdown right there. Now the Leopard 2A5 and the Kyler, I moved them out since this AT-GEM unit is occupied, but I immediately get reminded of this other Conkers team on the left side. RM70s unload right on top of my tank here, and my Cheetah basically neutralizing these guys for some time. M113s moving in, Panzergrenadiers just in the back. So all in all, we're making some progress. Now this here though was a big problem. These supplies were mine. I did not expect him to have a triple stack of Commandozis in this forest with the amount of units and points he spent on artillery and on units here. I definitely did not expect that. That is 105 points, isn't it? Yeah, that is a big investment for that flank right there. Now don't worry, we finally bring out the big guns. These Fuchs are filled with Fallschirmjäger. That is going to make short work of those boys. Now on the left side, Jack has his K1A1 moved from the left to the right, towards the middle, to try to stop some of these tanks from doing much over here. More militia have been spawned, and militia is a great idea since the enemy is using a lot of artillery, so you don't really want to just lose expensive units to rockets. Now a triple stack of Fallschirmjäger versus a triple stack of Commandozi. But not before we have a painful loss of some Panzer Grenadiers. Really good ambush position right here. Now you're about to see something beautiful. The Fallschirmjäger with the Hermann G11 and the MG3. They're just melting units away. Now I had some artillery. I immediately called that off since the Commandosi are retreating. And I am on the pursuit. Now in the middle, Jack has smoked off that forward position. We have Hachikai Shikis on the left trying to take out some Su-100s. I'm not quite sure if that is worth the 80 gems there. More RM70s firing right on top of my position here. Which is going to hurt once again, quite badly. Yeah. That is not a fun time. Now I know that he's going to push. As soon as that happened, I knew he was going to push back his Commandosi. So I fall back with my Fallschirmjäger and get Panzer Grenadiers to take over instead. In the middle, a massive militia fight. We have a Cobra in the back and Hachikai Shikis giving fire support, trying to dislodge the Lijian and the tank Shishao. And that is going really well actually. I have my lances firing at the town. Unfortunately there wasn't really anything in there. Cobra takes a hit from the QWs and does not survive. More RM70s on the right side. I also did a smoke attack here. Managed to get Panzer Grenadiers into this industrial zone. Mi-17s once again show up. I do have this cheat on the left, which I move up momentarily. But for now, the Marder-22s are doing a pretty good job of suppressing the enemy and making them fall back. Cheetah moves out and starts destroying that Mi-17. Finally, my AA doing some work. Pretty good. Now the KF-16Cs once again moved out. I think they killed another HQ-61 somewhere. I think they did one over here somewhere. Yeah, there's one right there that got taken out. K1A1 against the Su-100. I think you can probably bet on who's gonna win. Yep. Now on the right side, Panzer Grenadiers out in the basically in the open here will get demolished by the 14.5 millimeters of these Scots. Luckily the Marder-22s come in, immediately take care of those, take care of the Topaz, and start raining fire down on these guys. I move out my tanks to give some fire support to try to do as much damage here as possible. The Fuchs just move up to keep them busy and get a line of sight. And also to do some damage with those MG3s. Now, the RM70s are once again getting ready. They reload so quick. Now that is going to demolish all of that. The Sierra tries to move in. I immediately fall back with my Leopard and he loses line of sight and gets just demolished by the 3 Hawks that I have right here. And those were basically 3 points. J7 moves in. I wonder if I actually got this one. I don't think I did. Nope. So yeah, quite a good push. I have my Lance once again moving up, just wrecking, absolutely wrecking those Spados. But we do need to wait for some of my infantry to arrive. Another Lance fires basically on the same place there to dislodge the remainders of infantry. And that is pretty much the end of any infantry presence in that industrial zone. Commandosi up against Panzer Grenadiers. Not going to be a fun time, but we'll still manage to kill quite a few of these. KCTs do make it into this industrial zone. So we kind of have a foothold. And speaking of foothold, Jack finally has some infantry into Bravo. It's only like the tip of Bravo, but this is progress. In terms of destruction points, we're leading by about 760 or so. Almost 800 points. So all is going pretty good. Not to mention that we're just sacrificing units left and right. But that's how we like to play. We like to play destruction as if we're playing conquest. We really just like to push the enemy. It's the most fun thing to do. But pushing or offense is usually the best defense. Now KCTs spot the Niebieski Beretti, but them being like 40 plus men, I know that I'm not going to survive this. I immediately get my mortars to fire right here at this intersection. I also move up my transports to try to do as much damage as possible before they manage to get in here. Now the Marder 1E2s did a really good job of taking those transports out. And as you can see, we more than halved the Niebieski Beretti squad here. So that was already a successful operation. Units are getting resupplied. We have Fallschmager and Panzergrenadiers here. Mancatties are working overtime. They're doing really good. Mi-17s though, they just put a stop to everything every time. Now, unfortunately I had no idea these Conquerors were out of ammo. So I would have probably moved up the Leopard to A5 and the Cheetah maybe to like this position to try to really block them off from that zone. Now at base, the Lance is getting ready to fire. These guys are reloaded. The Mars is just standing by to see what kind of enemies we're dealing with, and the Fob is having a bad day. It is almost drained. And Jack's Fob is going to follow. Now Lance unleashes on that right flank. And I believe we had two going to the right. Now, obviously it is going for the town once again. That's a big yikes. That did so much damage. Wait, where's the other one? Did I cancel the other one? I'm not quite sure where I fired the other one. Oh, there it is. I fired right on top of his RM70s. Oh no. Oh, that is beautiful. I had no idea I did that. Oh, that is so good. Or just, guys, or just fire exactly where the enemy is, but you don't know yet. Alright? Easy. Now at this point, we're still leading by about the same amount of points. Actually, no, slightly more. About 900 and something points. I'm not good at math. What is that, 940? Yeah. Is it? I think it is. Someone get your calculator out. So that's pretty good. Now we have two of these KF-16 Block 52Ds. These guys are on rookie. Honestly, with 65% accuracy on your anti-AA, aka C, the missiles, that's probably fine. You don't really need to vet these up. Now that fob is officially out. We have one more fob with 10,000 supplies in it. And considering that each of these Mancatties uses 1700, that is going to get drained pretty quick. Now on the right side, kind of a break in that push. Spados are engaged by our Panzergrenadiers and Fallschmagers. They're not surviving. We have Panzergrenadiers on the right side. Just a horde of them this time, so there's no way he can beat these. We have another Cheetah on the right side. The fact that we took down two seaplanes makes us kind of think that we destroyed most of their seat capabilities. After that engagement, I fall back because I know something is gonna happen. Yeah, we save ourselves a lot of headache by making that small fallback. More smoke coming in. to block the line of sight there. My RM70 is finally going on top of these tanks here because our recon does manage to spot them. But unfortunately, our accuracy is not amazing. But at least we pissed them off enough. And that's what matters. Now, lances are rearmed. But since I am out of supplies, I have to be very careful with how I use my units. Now, Panzergrenadiers have set up a good defensive position on the right side. I'm moving up more on the middle here, together with some more Fallschirmjägers in the back. The Marder 182s are just chilling. In the meantime, I'm moving over my Fuchs with Fallschirmjägers to the front line, but immediately get blocked by these Conquerors that are now rearmed once again. Luckily, they missed both of those shots, which I did not expect. I was expecting these guys to just go boom. Now the Fallschirmjägers get unloaded. I moved them over the smoke, and I get the lances aimed up, ready to go. Now as soon as we get into one of these buildings, we're good. And let me explain why. If you are in a building that the enemy is in as well, those enemy units will not be engaging you, or they will not be doing as much damage, because that building is occupied by their friendlies. Now once again the seaplane comes in and takes out my AA, because I turned it on briefly, because I saw these J7s. So he did a really good job of baiting my AA here with those J7s. I give in finally and get some ASFs to try to stop them from using those again. RM70s unleash on my mortars, these poor guys. Luckily, he basically misses every single shot. Now I managed to get more Fallschirmjägers into the buildings. We have more Panzergrenadiers over here moving up. We have Commandozis and Scots here against all of our Panzergrenadiers on the right side. So things are looking up quite well. Now meanwhile on the left, we kind of caught this at the best moment. We have a horde of militia. And this is going to be absolutely insane. He smoked off a path into the forest and then just flooded it with militia, which is absolutely beautiful. Now let's briefly look to the right side. Commandosi and Panzergrenadiers are just brawling. These guys will take out these topazes, and the Fallschirmjägers over here are just holding position, and the Marder 182s will give fire support. That Mi-24D unfortunately will wreck that unit, and yeah, put a block to my push once again. Now after this game I immediately made a new deck and put manpads in there, so that never happens again. WZ550s get hit by the militia, excuse me, and get killed by the K1A1s. My god. I did not expect militia to hit their RPGs with only 30% accuracy. That is a glorious push that is happening over there. Now the Commandozis here. Normally I would be fine. Once again though, a Hind moves up, and yeah, it does some things. The Hind does some things. I move up a plane to try to take it out. That is how desperate I am right now. I don't know why it doesn't let me zoom in on it, but it didn't fire. And why, you would ask? Is because I used the wrong plane. I just move in the Marder 182s to try to get the autocannon to do some damage. But our guys also panicked. But you know what? At least we have the town, right? Now let's go over to the left side again. Yebiyoung and these 4 tanks, made really good moves here, and actually got really close to the spawn, the command of the opponents there. 2 massive bombs do drop and kill only 1 squad of Yebiong. That is definitely a loss we can live with. But at the back, we have some better infantry. We have 2 squads of Tukyongsa, I'm pronouncing these badly, Kutei 90s, and we have some more forces on the way, I believe. Yep, there is a lot of special forces coming in. These guys have M14s, by the way. How cool is that? Now the Block 15s and the Tornadoes, I moved them in to try to bomb as much as possible on the right side. I actually do manage to bomb some of these Topazes, but unfortunately we don't really kill anything. We kind of just miss every single bomb there. Marta 182 moves up to try to stop this fresh horde of infantry to move in. I do have these Kylers now on the right side, together with more Fallschmager. And this Leopard 2A5. I decide to slightly move it up to see what the enemy has going on there. Now special forces come in these KV-107s, like Chinook look-alike helicopters. I call them baby Chinooks. Now at this point, I'm still kind of sick of those helis, right? So what I'm trying to do is get these tanks up to the front line and move them into cover over here to get those autocannons and yeah, just to get those autocannons working on those helis. Commandos, he does get a cheeky side shot here and manages to basically almost destroy one of these Kylers. I move in 2 vehicles with more infantry to secure that right flank of the Kylers, and with that we have a new strong position right there. KCTs get spotted by this recon here, enabling the T-72M1 to just take that out pretty quickly. Now since Soviet tanks have 4 HE, it really does not take a lot of effort. Now this is also another really well played or really well set up attack, I would say, because Jack made advances here and then held position until he had like supplies and he had better infantry right behind them, and that is a really good strategy. Otherwise, if we just moved in with militia, they would just get annihilated and they would just serve no purpose. Right now though, they're taking the brunt of the enemy's defenses, and they're getting them spotted as well. Now unfortunately these guys do not really get too far, but they're still militia, so that is just fine. Kutei 90s move in. Finally we got some special forces action here. WZ 551s are going to get demolished really quickly. So really beautiful push on that left side. It took me a bit of time to get here, but I've also secured this right side, and I'm just happy to just have this and not really do much of anything else on that right flank there. Now the next idea that we have is, as soon as we secure Alpha, which is basically bound to happen at this point, we want to make a push for Bravo. So I ready up by getting some ATGM vehicles, getting more recon, getting more tanks / recon, to basically build up a force to help Jack with Bravo. K1A1s are moving up. I'm just speeding it up just ever so slightly. Kutei 90s, just wonderful units. Blue Dragon is really good in these types of maps here, or terrains. The miniguns, they don't really do that much damage on garrisoned units, but they do kind of piss them off. Now we had just one helicopter here on the left side poking around. The enemy Firebao here. I finally get my revenge, and we take that guy out quite easily. On the right side, again, not much going on. Creed decided to set up a new defensive position at this tree line here and not try to engage me in Foxtrot again. So Yebyung are moving up. We got some mortars on top of the Lijiang. K1A1 gets side shot by the ZTQ, which is definitely a painful engagement there. He gets hit from the front this time. Luckily he survives, fires again and takes him out. That was lucky. Lijiang 90 get demolished by the Nanion Shikijis. And all of these mini-me's. J7s move in. I think the J7s kind of got distracted by the seed plane that I flew out here. And we managed to kill, I believe, both of these guys. I spawned an MLU. And we say goodbye to that guy. Now more RM70s. Just start unleashing on our positions. And the enemy is kind of also out of supplies there. So it turned out to be quite an attrition war. With lots of really good pushes. Mainly from my ally here. Now HQ61s are out of AA. Or out of... well, technically that is correct. They're out of AA. They're out of ammo. So those guys, I have to go back to base. Nanion Shikijis are moving up on the field, a quad stack of them. Kute 90s are about to engage the WZ550. We have a PGZ here that is going to be blocked by the 2 Kyonsai if they keep moving up. So that was really a lightning strike on Alpha. That was really well done by our teammate there. I move in this block 15 just because I'm pissed off. And I want to kill something, damn it. And you know what? It was worth it. He survived. Alright? So whoever says anything about that attack, you're automatically wrong. Now if we go into my point of view here, we destroy that recon, and with that, I decide to move up my Leopard to A5. That immediately makes Creed fall back. I do get one hit on that 72. And with that, it basically tells me that he does not really have a lot here. So I move up my 2A1, my Leopard for Kenning, or my recon tank, and my 2A5 are now at the front line here. I get these LAR 202s just behind them as well. I move up these Hawks slightly, and basically I just bump up my front line substantially. Yeah, look at this really nice unit composition of our friendly here. Mortars in the back, we got supplies in the back, K30s moving up in cover, K1A1s in the back, got slightly repaired. So all in all, nicely done there. Nanion Shikiji with 1 HP unfortunately does not survive an RPG 7 shot. Now I decided to smoke this off, thinking that his tank was there. So that was quite a waste of supplies at this point. Every mortar shell was important for us right there. T-72 is spotted. The LAR toes and the recon tank start unleashing on it. 2 toes just start wrecking tanks left and right. The UH-14, I decide to move it up, but he gets demolished by a SoullessVase, I believe. Honestly, one of the most underrated AA guns. They're so good. I love using SoullessVase. They're kind of like Strop 2s, but cheaper, and not necessarily worse. Now MI-24s move up and MI-17s. I do have a cheetah in the back. I move up these Hawks as well. I just keep these Kylers in the bush. The Leopard for Kenning does get spotted. T-72s just peek out. Get a really nasty hit on my Leopard. And the Kokon ATGM finishes off our tank. And here's proof. I was gonna say that Russian helis or units have thermal, but our tank was just on the edge of that smoke. enabling another 80 gem strike and taking one of our 3 Kylers out. Now just going into neutral mode, this Conquers tries to get this Lard Toe. He missed the first shot, the second shot as well. The third shot finishes it off. Now, I didn't just stand still on the right side. I decided to move up some Fallschirmjäger to see what the enemy was doing here, because I knew they had some Sopels here. So these 12 Fallschirmjäger will hopefully be enough to clear that out. I kind of forgot what happened there, so we're gonna have to keep an eye on these guys. Now we own 80% of the conquest or destruction points needed to win, so we're doing pretty good. I finally decided to get a recon helicopter, but since this guy is the only one I have, it's quite a pricey unit to buy early on. Now I think this is one of the pathing errors that Creed is now dealing with. T-72 on 1 Wilk was spotted and immediately destroyed by the Panzerfaust 3. T-55 Recon does not really stand a chance either. Abyss is coming in to try to take out our Tiger. We demolish it with the Hawks, but the Sopel finishes off the job. So all in all, really good unit placement by Creed here. T-55 is also demolished there. So the entire front line is really just collapsing at this point. But not before we sacrifice more units for the greater good. You saw nothing. Now the Conquerors have no problem clapping our tanks. I move up my 2A1 and the Lard Toe 2s just up to the front line, just as a Zerg rush and into the forest to try to snipe some of these units. Now there's only a few points left that we need. 75 points to be exact. SU-7BM moves in with 8 bombs. We lose... What did I lose? A tow vehicle, thank God, not the Leopard. There goes another tow vehicle. At this point, everyone was kind of tired already. Oh, excuse me, we actually need another 1,000 points to win. I made a massive math error right there. Now the Leopard 2A5 is out in the open. The ATGM helicopter is out of ammunition, luckily. He does get 1 hit on us, taking 3 HP away. Quite a substantial decrease. 24 AP on those ATGMs with 2,800 meters range. Super strong. Now, here, because Jack has spent a lot of points on the left, I move up some Marines. Just to Zerg rush, spot the enemy, so that all of our fire support can do some damage. So the Marines are out in the open. The QT-90 on the right side from Jack are also moving up. The tank manages to clear this out. We got our Corpse Marines in there. We got mortars raining down on the tank Shishao. The Zhangxi over there. We'll be demolishing those QT, but not before I get a bomb right on their face. I was gonna say, but we bombed something else. Now the Formosa over here from Creed were just left there the entire game, which is quite amazing. But luckily we do have still some units there to defend. Tansam short arrow misses 3 times, hits the 4th one with the splash damage, takes out almost one of them already. And with that said, those helis are not really gonna do much damage. Mortars raining down right on top of the Lijian. Leopard 2A5 still giving fire support. And here is Jack's militia rush. It's so good. Just look at this. Like, what is that? What is this, guys? What is even going on? Like, no one really knew what was going on. Like, this is... Hold up, guys. That's the thumbnail right there, isn't it? That is so cool. These units are, like... This game is so photogenic. Is that a word? That is epic. Let's continue. There's so many of them as well. More WZ550s coming in. One getting demolished there. It's just pure chaos. Us getting this helicopter is the only goal I have. And we did it, damn it. We got the helicopter. That was the only objective I had this entire game. Now the Yubeyong, Yebigong, I don't know how you pronounce that, do make it into the town. The mortars take out the double stack of HQs. I move up my block 15. He was meant to kill those AA guns, but unfortunately Jack got it before these guys did. And with that sweep of our militia, we cleaned the entire town out. Now Jack did really well with his AA. And that is the end of that game. In terms of overall points, I definitely lost a lot of units, but still went positive. So all in all, not horrible. TNT went negative and Creed went negative as well. I don't think any of us had a really good day, and we're just not on top of our game except Jack. He did really well. But yeah, that was a really fun battle. If you guys are wondering what kind of deck I'm using, that was the Dutch-German regular, but I recommend going for a Dutch-German either mechanized or get some either like cheaper AA in here or get some manpads and maybe remove the Parmalan or something like this. Get manpads because these guys, the Hawks won't really save you, and the Cheetahs are quite expensive. Maybe you can get some cheaper Flag Panzers to sprinkle in here as well to do some more damage. But that was it, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys back in the next one. Bye bye.